Fine. So, occupational health hazards. What do we mean by occupational? Occupational means the health hazards which are formed due to we or labors being associated with our occupations. Like we as engineers will be on the site, or the laborers or any other human resource which is affected or which is at risk due to the due to his or her occupation. Fine. So basically these are categorized into four parts: physical hazards, chemical hazards, biological hazards, and ergonomic hazard. So we'll see one by one what these sort of hazards mean. What I'll do is I'll just try to join with my mobile, and if I can just see if it is possible to allow. Is the echo still coming?
Yes, sir. Sorry, echo हो रहा है sir.
That's the issue, no? Because I tried before also, but it is not working. But if people enter in between, I have no option but to stop and just allow them. It unnecessarily it wastes the time, na? Anyways, so broadly they are classified into four types: physical hazards, chemical hazards, biological hazard, and ergonomic hazards. So we'll discuss each of them in detail. So what we'll discuss today is discuss and explain common hazards in the workplace and the effects to workers' health, recommend appropriate measures to prevent occupational and work-related illness. So occupational health hazards. So many guidelines are given by International Labour Organization, World Health Organization, and Occupational Health and Safety Administration accords which are there according to Factory Act of Indian government. So many provisions are there in that. So what they all speak broadly, they promote and maintain the highest degree of physical, mental, and social well-being of workers of all occupations, prevent workers from departures due to health caused by the working conditions, protect workers in their working environment from hazards and risks usually causing adverse health effects, and place and maintain worker in an occupational environment adapted to his physical ability. So these 4 point principles are there, or four you can say provisions are there in the occupational health manual. So many countries have their own manuals for uh, maintaining the occupational health uh, and for occupational health administration. So these 4 points are to be remembered: promotion and maintaining the for physical and social well-being, preventing the workers from hazards, protecting the workers from in their environment, and to place and maintain the worker in a good condition. So you all know what hazard is: any source of potential damage, harm, or adverse health effect on something or someone under certain conditions at work. And risk is the probability. Probability means the chance. Out of 100%, how much percent chance is there that a person will be harmed or experience an adverse health effect if it is exposed to an hazard? So hazard is there at a place. Hazard is there, but not all people may be at risk. Only the vulnerable people may be at risk. So what is the vulnerable group? We had discussed in the first lecture itself. There are three things: hazard, risk, vulnerability. When the disaster will be set to strike, when the hazard is more, the vulnerability is more, the risk is more, and the capabilities of people, the coping capabilities, or if either of the people or of the community is less. So this should be, if this is less, risk is less, automatically the disaster won't strike. We'll discuss about chemical hazards. We had already discussed in the previous lecture about the chemical hazards. Still, some points need to be cleared. So, routes of entry, you all know, it can be through inhalation, it can be through ingestion, eating, and it can be through skin contact. So, chemicals can enter your body and they can cause harm. So, routes of excretion also to the gastrointestinal fecus, renal, urinal excretion, respiratory exhalation, or it can be through skin like sweat, hairs, nails. It can chemicals can be taken out of your body. So measures of concentration also that we discussed: threshold limit value, average concentration of airborne substance to which most workers could be safely exposed over an 8-hour shift or a 40-hour working week throughout a working lifetime. So what is the average concentration of airborne? That is the threshold limit. And the allowable maximum concentration also we had discussed the other day. Peak or maximum concentration of an airborne to which most workers could be safely exposed. So these three limits we had discussed the other day. Also the classification we had done: local toxicity occurs at the site of the chemical contact. Systematic occurs distance, is even the chemical is not present at this particular point, at the particular point where the worker is working, but it is at a distance and from the point of contact, but still involve some it may involve some toxicity due to the, you can say, routine, some routine works, or due to the environmental, you can say, the airflow or something like that. Acute toxicity generally occurs almost immediately after an exposure. Then we had studied the subacute toxicity, also the subchronic toxicity. And chronic is what represents cumulative damage to specific organs over a period of time, over certain duration, 5 years, 10 years. This toxicity is there, that is chronic toxicity, occurs many months or years to have recognizable clinical disease. So chronic, acute is what you can immediately, you can say, you can predict okay, this is acute toxicity, so you can prevent. But chronic generally it is not easily predictable and it is dangerous. So chemical hazards, again, health effects are there: renal diseases, respiratory diseases, skin diseases are there. Hematologic means some blood diseases are there, cardiovascular diseases, neurological, depending on your affecting your nervous system, some diseases are there, carcinogenic, cancer causing diseases are there, teratogenic diseases. So these are all diseases which are likely to be, or the impacts likely to be of the chemicals on your body. So renal diseases, acute chronic renal failure can be there. So chemical agents like mercury, cadmium, chloroform can be a cause of chemical hazards. Though industry process like battery, chemical industries, pesticides, and all these industries cause the renal failure, or again it can be acute or chronic. Respiratory diseases, irritation of eyes, skin, inflammation. So chemical agents, solvents, ammonia, and chemical industries are there, which are very much the requirement of any economy. So they cause the respiratory diseases. Look, hazard is going to be there. What is important is the group which is working should be less vulnerable. Pneumoconiosis, so inorganic dust which is there in mining, construction, sandblasting, coal, and all these workplaces. Cancer is due to chromium, plating, metal refining, and all these industries are there. This cause the disease. Blood diseases like anemia, which is caused by lead, ingestion of lead. So battery manufacturing, lead smelting, these all industries are there which cause the anemia disease. Aplastic anemia is caused by benzene. Solvent and soap manufacturing firms are there, which the workers associated or which come in direct contact, often they are associated with this kind of diseases. Skin diseases, allergic contact dermatitis is generally it occurs in plastic and varnish kind of industries, even paint industries. Such kind of diseases are there. Plastic epoxides are also Plastic epoxides are the chemicals which are responsible for the diseases. Acne and all are cutting oils, grease are responsible. So again, in machine tool operators, this kind of uh, in this factory, this sort of diseases can be found. Skin cancer is caused by arsenic tar in petroleum refineries and all. Once again, request you all to join on time so that such time is not wasted. So liver diseases, acute liver toxicity is caused by carbon dioxide. So these are chemicals are there. You need not remember from the exam point of view. You need not remember the exact names. At least you should be able to relate some chemicals with some sort of diseases. Exact names is not expected, of course, but still, if such question comes, at least you should give some examples, one or two examples of some diseases you should be able to give. So cleaning fluids, dry cleaners and all these cause liver diseases. Liver cancer is caused by vinyl chloride. So plastic and vinyl chloride manufacturing industries are there. Cardiovascular diseases like hypertension, atherosclerosis and all arrhythmias can be caused by these all chemicals. And again, battery manufacturing and recycling industries can cause hypertension. Degreasing, dry cleaning industries are there which cause atherosclerosis, and refrigeration solvent workers arrhythmias can be caused by these industries. This was about the chemical hazard. Second hazard is, so in the exam, look in the exam either the question may come discuss about the chemical hazards and the causing factors. So you should be able to relate. Na? What I'm saying is you need not remember exactly each and every name, but at least some names you can remember and some diseases you can just relate. Right? Should be able to relate and you should be able to at least write the name of the diseases. And some industries you should be able to write. Other question may be there like discuss the occupational safety and health administration, or what are the provisions of occupational safety and health administration, or rather what sort of diseases are there due to occupation of a particular human resource. So then the chemical hazards will be just a part of it. Then you have to discuss about physical hazards, biological hazard, as well as ergonomic hazard. If such question is there, it will be asked generally for 8 to 10 marks. So again, you have to plan how will you write your exam, how will you write your answer, because you cannot write each and everything which is discussed. Hai na? You won't have that much time. Of course, you should pick some keywords from it and you should build your answer on it so that effectively the answer is the question is also answered, whereas your time is also not lost too much, because this disaster management you will require you need to plan it properly, because what is there, that is a theoretical subject, unlike a numerical subject where you just solve a numerical and you get good marks. Now in this unless you write your answers exactly to the point, you won't get very, you can say, you won't get very good marks. You will get marks. Of course, I have said in the beginning only that failing in this particular subject is like someone, if he wants to fail himself, then and then only he can fail. That is very difficult to fail in this subject. But what is important, of course, you are in the final year, scoring good marks is more important in this particular subject, isn't it? So if you want to score, you have to write exactly what is required from the questions point of view. Again, physical hazards, there are many. So noise is there, vibration, extreme temperature, illumination, and radiation. These are the physical hazards. So noise, all of you know, these are the factors which are causing extreme noise. Airplanes which are going in the vicinity, some heavy lathe machine or some other machines which are there, mechanical machines. These are all sources of noise. Industrial, you can say, fallout, or industrial, you can say, uh, just the dumping of industrial wastewater into, this is also a noise causing agent. The cars, the vibrate, this you can say the construction and other industries, the tools which are used, again welding and all, then again why this sort of tools which are used. So again, we all don't have to go into detail about this. So this is how the ear is there and how the perception of noise is there in the ear. So noise, so there can be types of, now two type of hearing loss which are there due to noise. Temporary threshold shift, auditory fatigue is there. Temporary your ear is affected so that you cannot hear. So temporary loss of hearing acuity after exposure to loud noise, recovery within 16 to 48 hours. This is there. Of course, you may have heard also, you may also experience sometimes such similar sort of auditory fatigue. Permanent threshold shift, irreversible loss of hearing is there. So early signs of hearing loss, difficulty in understanding spoken words in a noisy environment, needs to be near or look at the person speaking or help or understand the words. Familiar sounds are muffed. Complaints that people do not speak clearly, ringing noises in the ear. So these all things are there which are effects, primitive signs. Other harmful effects of noise is hypertension, of course. People who are not able to hear properly, they are often associated with hypertension, hyperacidity, palpitations, disturbs relaxation and sleep. So these all are harmful effects of noise. So vibrations are there again. Many machines are there which cause the vibrations. So physical factor which affects man by transmission of mechanical energy from oscillating sources. Types are segmental vibration, whole body vibrations are there. Again, health effects, and the people who are using these particular tools now over a long period of time, what happens is they are affected by this sort of harmful effects. So hand arm vibration syndrome is there. So tingling, numbness, blanching of fingers, pain is there. Like many people, they have to operate if they are using this particular tools and all, na, especially the workers and all. So if they are using this for a long time, 10 years, 15 years, or even some people to the extent of 30 years. So in due course of time, after say when they are just relieved from their duty, or say for if after they have attained a certain age of say 45, 50, what they feel is they feel certain diseases, certain, you can say, certain deformations in their hand or in their arms or legs due to the using of this particular machines over a prolonged period of time. So again they need to be operated, or they need to take some physiological treatment for getting over those defects. So whole vibration is there if the person is working throughout in this particular environment for a long period of time. He may have to encounter fatigue, irritability, headache, disorders of the spine, and all sort of diseases. So extreme temperature also is a hazard. So sources of heat stress, there may be natural heat stress, like in a summer season you're working in a hot field, so you may be having that heat stress. Hot work processes related to furnaces, kilns, boilers, melting forms, you know, these all also are sources of extreme temperature, where the outside temperature may not be that extreme, but the working conditions cause extreme temperatures. So these all health effects are there. Disorders like prickly heat, miliaria rubra. The clinical features are pruritic rash is the observed. So heat cramps in the body, legs. Usually you find sportsmen and all, na, while playing. You may often have seen, na, they have cramps in their body and all. Why this happens? Because of continued exposure to the particular heat and the associated stress. Heat exhaustion, dizziness, fainting attack, blurring of vision, cold, clammy and sweaty skin. These all the features are observed. Heat stroke is observed, of course, with people with, you can say, with heat stroke is generally observed with people who have, you can say, often they are prone to some heart or some such heart diseases. They are often related to heat stroke. The cyanosis, muscle twitchings, disorientation, delirium, convulsions are observed, especially for heat strokes. Extreme temperatures, and so they're sources of cold environment. Again, people working in ice plants and freezers in the food industry, they are exposed to cold environment, and then this sort of extreme temperatures they can come across. So frostbite is there. You can just see what happens, na, to skin. So frostbite is there. Reddening of skin, localized burning pain and numbness, fingers, toes, cheeks, nose, ears are more susceptible. So hence, if you are there for, in a, you can say, very cold place, no, often occur. People often complain about these sort of syndromes. Trench foot or immersion foot, numbness, pain, cramps, ulceration, gangrene. These are there if the person is associated with a extreme cold temperature. Inadequate illumination, proper lighting is not there in the workplace. So what are the effects? Visual fatigue is there, double vision, headaches, painful irritation, lacrimation, conjunctivitis. These all the things are observed due to inadequate illumination. No proper light is there at the workplace for a prolonged period of time. So these all diseases can be there. Radiation again. Tomorrow we'll see some documentaries on radiation, of especially the Bhopal gas tragedy and all. So radiation is there. Radiation again causes many hazards. So types of radiation: ionizing radiation, which is caused by X-rays, gamma rays. These are the rays which have the least. You can say gamma rays have the uh, these rays have the least wavelength. So again, their penetration is more. So health effects are like cancer, congenital defects that is also occurred by this type of radiation. Analyzing like ultraviolet, infrared, laser. So these cause these are not that much penetrating. Ionizing means these are great penetrating power. You know? That's why when you go for X-rays and all, your bones and all, they are able to, because they can easily penetrate the skin, and take a they will just, you can say, they will just take a picture because the wavelength is quite small, whereas these are sufficiently, you can say, relatively more wavelength is there for ultraviolet, infrared and laser beams. So again, the health effects of ultraviolet red is skin redness, premature skin aging, skin cancer is due to ultraviolet rays. Infrared is corneal and conjunctival burns, retinal injury, cataract and all of the eyes is observed. Laser is skin and eye problem is there. Therefore, it is said, na, you should not, especially the children, all, na, they have a habit of playing with the laser lights and all. So it is often advised that it should be prevented from children, and the eyes should be protected from the laser lights. Again, the biological hazards are there, which we are facing at this moment of time is also a biological hazard. So viruses, fungi, parasites, bacteria, these are the four form of biological hazard. What we are facing nowadays is the virus, of course. So selected infectious diseases and occupations. What diseases, biological diseases may be there due to the occupation of the health workers we are discussing today. So colds, influenza, scarlet fever, diphtheria, smallpox. This can be contacted anyway, anywhere. So if a people who is working in a factory is in close proximity to people, any if of the person which is having such sort of diseases, he may be easily affected. So that's why, na, even in this particular setting, we are told to observe social distancing and wearing the face mask and all. Na? So prevention is always better than cure. Again, second cause of disease is tuberculosis. So the silica workers, na, people exposed to heat and organic dust, and medical personnel, the people who are working in these factories, na, cement production and all factories, they are of course affected by this sort of diseases. Anthrax is there. Animal handlers and handlers of carcasses, skins or hair of infecting animals, including wool. So these all industries are there. Carpet processors, handlers. So they are associated with these diseases. Ringworm and all. These diseases are there. So pet shop salesmen, stockmen, breeders of cats and dogs and other animal handlers, they are affected by this disease. Tetanus is there, is observed in farmers, spores in soil and urine and in contact with manure and all. These diseases are there. Rabies, so veterinarians, litter carriers, laboratory research workers, agriculture workers, they are affected. They may be affected by rabies due to their occupation. Fungus is observed in farmers, outdoor workers, animal handlers. So this was about the biological hazards. The last hazard which we are going to discuss is the ergonomic hazard. So ergonomic hazard is due to the position of your body when you are at the workplace. So ergonomics is human biological science, because human beings body, our body has some definite, we have some posture, we have some body characteristics which if which is given by nature to us, which is gifted by God to us, and we need to, if we are going against nature, what will happen then? We are getting into, you can say, we are putting extreme stress on our body, and we are causing harm to our body. So ergonomics is nothing but it is a human biological science plus an engineering science, so that maximum satisfaction of human body is there and increased productivity is there. So work is also being done, as well as human comfort is also there, fitting the job to the worker. So this is known as ergonomics. So ergonomics is dependent on the task, job content and context, the tool which is used, the workstation on which the worker is working, the environment which is there, and the organization which is there for the work. So ergonomics goal is to reduce work-related musculoskeletal disorders developed by workers. So muscular and skeletal disorders. So the goal is to reduce the stress in this particular in the muscles and in the skeleton of workers. So MSDs are injuries and illness that affect muscles, nerves, tendons, ligaments. Ligaments means there are ligaments in our, the people who have studied biology and all, they know no, tendons and ligaments. They are the joining of the muscles, joints, and spinal discs. So these are the musculoskeletal um, musculoskeletal disorder should be uh, prevented or reduced. Common symptoms of musculoskeletal disorders: painful joints, pain, tingling, numbness in the hands, wrists, forearms, shoulders, knees, and feet. Numbness can be observed or pain can be observed. Shooting or stabbing pains, swelling or inflammation can be observed in the hands or in some part of your body. So common symptoms of musculoskeletal disorders are fingers or toes turning white, back or neck pain, or stiffness. No, you look like if you're prolonged using, you have a habit of prolonged usage of mobile phones and all, no? And you're using it from one side. What will happen is that you may have some neck problem or something like that. No? If you are driving, no? Drivers and all are often associated with, you can say they are generally their foot and all, no? They are finding numbness in their foot and all, especially if they are driving barefoot. So people generally, drivers and all, no? They wear shoes and all for driving for their comfort purpose. So again, people who are carrying heavy loads and all, no? Again, shoulder pain and neck pain is again observed. So static posture is there. If you are sitting on one place continue, like for your lectures, na, what you should do, na, you should have, because now you are hearing at your end, na, unless you are hearing at some with some laptop and all, na, if you are hearing in mobile phone, you should just take some rounds at home and all, na, just a small rounds after half an hour or after 1 hour, so that the monotony is break. So after each lecture you should take some break, say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, so that, and I'm not telling break in listening. You can just take a break. You can take a break from your position, so that the body static posture is broken, and then your body is just adjust. Forceful exertion is what you are forcing your body to take heavy loads and all. So this also causes some damages. Repetitive movements and all. Again, this causes, it is a risk factor. Extreme range of motion. So again, heavy work which is done by laborers and all, no? Again, that is damaging factor. Awkward posture. The load may not be heavy, but due to your work environment, your workstation, you have to you have to you have to position, or you have to take awkward postures for your work. So ergonomics, you can see by this simple diagram, it can be defined. Head and body are straight with shoulder relaxed. This is a ergonomic position. So if you are working on a computer and all, na, top level of text is the same level as of eyes, so that you don't have to tilt your neck. Don't have to move your neck too much up and down. Fingers are relaxed with wrists in a neutral position. This is for a short duration. It won't matter, but when you are working for a continuous, na, like the IT people and all, na, those who have to continually work on their PCs and all, na, IT people or even the customer care on all these people now are working for on a computer for a prolonged duration of time. They need to work. They need to think of these features. So upper arms verticals and elbows are close to the body, and forearms are horizontal. This posture should be remembered. Back rest is adjusted to the lumbar region. To your spine should always maintain this posture while sitting and all. Chair height allows adequate leg clearance, and maintains keyboard surface of leg clearance. Your leg should not be like that you are just putting your leg within a very limited space. What will happen for a small short duration is fine, but if you are working for a long duration, it may again lead to discomfort to your body and again certain diseases which may be uh, for a you can say and for a there can be chronic diseases which are due to a long period of time. So feet should be resting firmly on the ground or at least supported by footrest. So now good companies, na MNCs and all, they are providing footrest and all, so that people are comfortable in their working position. Work surface is adjusted to the urban. So all these things need to be remembered for proper ergonomics. Now ergonomics is not just in the factory; it can be just for driving also. The cars manufacturers and all, na, they provide good ergonomics so that people who are driving there they find it comfortable. Even your chair, table, and design, this furniture, and all these people, no? For your homes also, they are now good study of ergonomics and all is done. Then the stress is there. The harmful physical and emotional responses that occurs when requirement of the job do not match the capabilities, resources, or needs of the workers. So it is again attend with the stress. So too much, you can say work is there, or too much, the capability is less, but the worker is told to do too much kind of work in a short duration of time. The stress will be there. So brains and nerves feel the stress, skin feels the stress, muscles and joints the stress are there. The heart, the stress is there. So many cases of paralysis and all is observed now on sites. It is of course because of the too much stress is there on the human body. Stomach upset and all stomach diseases are there due to stress. Pancreas are affected, so the diabetes risk is reduced. Intestines and all these are affected due to stress. Reproductive system is affected, especially for women. And immune system is again affected. Manifestation of stress. So psychological factors are there: fatigue, anxiety, tension, irritability, depression, boredom, inability to concentrate. So if you have stress now, even in studies and all, you cannot concentrate. So you should always try to relieve stress. So there are many methods of relieving stress which you should practice. Psychological stress are there: heart rate, blood pressure, indigestion. These all things are observed. Behavioral stressors like drug use, alcohol intake. These are all due to when you feel stress. What you do is you resort to this sort of many people, na, many youths especially, they resort to such kind of behaviors. Heavy smoking, impulsive emotional behavior, poor work and family relationships, social isolation, family abandonment, sleep problem. These all things are there which are associated with stress. You can see, na, too much work and very limited resources. So it causes stress. Many programs are there which are practiced by especially the developed countries. Even the developing countries are coming. Even in India, we have the Factories Act and Industrial Workers FT Act, which deals with many programs for health protection, health promotion, health rehabilitation. So, what should be done? So workers should be trained, na, because they are not that much literate. Na? They may be they may have either they may be completely illiterate or they may have learned very few or their education level may be quite low. So they should be properly guided, and some programs should be there. Like if the worker is working in paints, thinners, on this sort of industry, na? So surveillance for chemical exposure monitoring, this all sorts system should be there. Proper, you can say, even some sort of CCTV cameras and all should be fitted so that the workers are observed and they are not they are properly channelized and all, so that continuous exposure is not there. Physical work is there, so hearing conservation program and all can be devised. So again, tetanus and all immunization and vaccines and all can be given. So ergonomic stress management or personal methods like workplace modification, worker education training, back care program. These all programs can be there, and certain promotion and all activities are also there at the global and Indian level. Next is the nuclear disease. Of course, in detail, we are going to discuss it tomorrow. Just an overview of nuclear hazards and human health risk I'm going to discuss today. So, according to the International Atomic Energy Agency, a nuclear and radiation accident hazard is an event that has led to significant consequences to people, the environment, and the facility. So, nuclear hazards risk or danger to human health or human health or the environment exposed by the radiation emanating from the atomic nuclei is called as nuclear hazards. Nuclear hazard is an actual or a potential release of radioactive material at a commercial nuclear power plant or a transportation accident. So generally, this nuclear power and all, na, this has taken boom in the say late 20th century. It has taken quite a boom because what has happened? Na, the conventional sources of energy, they are on the verge of extinction. The coal, the other sources which are depleting. So what people thought of for going for now non-conventional sources of energy. So what they thought, so many non-conventional sources of energy are there, like the solar energy, the wind energy, the hydro energy, the again uh, so nuclear energy also sort of non-conventional source of energy. But the problem with nuclear energy is what? It has many hazards associated with it. So if it is not properly regulated, the many hazards are there. So nuclear power accidents, many accidents are observed. So four prominent accidents are the SL1 accident in 1961, the Three Mile Island accident in 1979, Chernobyl, which is the most severe of the accidents which was observed in 1986, Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster. So radiation pollution, the process by which an atom changes from an unstable state to a more stable state by emitting radiation is called radioactive decay or radioactivity. The most common source of radiation is the nuclear power plants. Other sources include spent fuel reprocessing plant, byproducts of mining operations, experimental research laboratories. Just a moment, I'll come in a minute. So such disturbances are there often. We need to prevent them. Fine. So radiation pollution. Why there is so much opposition? Na? Then so many nuclear projects are coming in India. In Maharashtra also the Jaitarpur project and all is coming. Why people are opposing them? Because of the hazards which are associated with them. Of course, they are at the hazard stage at this moment of time, but they can become disaster if it is not properly regulated. So radiation that cause pollution are electromagnetic radiations like UV rays, X-rays, gamma rays, infrared rays, radio waves. These all are radiations which cause pollution, and particulate radiations, beta, alpha particles, etc. They cause pollution. So impacts of nuclear radiation, short-term recoverable effects like short-term effects on skin, hair loss, lungs, or reproductive organs. This can be recovered. Long-term irrecoverable effects, radiation sickness. A person's risks of getting sick depends on how much radiation the body absorbs. Radiation sickness is often fatal and produce symptoms such as bleeding or shedding of the lining of the gastrointestinal tract. Bone marrow death is caused by a dose of radiation between 2 and 10 gray. This is the unit for computing radiation, and it is characterized by the part of the bone marrow makes the blood and being that makes the blood being broken down. Therefore, production of red and white blood cells and platelets is stopped due to the loss of blood making stem cells, which is there in the bone marrow. So again, that is a very fatal kind of disease. Cataract induction, cancer induction, infection diseases resulting from nuclear attacks such as dysentery, tuberculosis, cholera, pneumonia. Genetic defects are also there. The effect is suffered by offspring of the individual exposed. Many mutations of these reproductive cells are passed to the offspring of the. So in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, na, even the effects are observed today. The genetic defects of nuclear radiation are even observed today. Na. People are still in that particular region. Those who are exposed to a great extent. So still genetical disorders in all are observed in the newborn babies. So it is a very uh, harmful kind of energy, that is the radiation disaster. So its disaster effect is quite harmful. So how can it harm? The radioactive iodine and cesium are being released in the environment from the manufacturing nuclears. So many nuclears are there which release this kind of substances. As radioactive material decays or breaks down, the energy released into the environment has two ways of harming a body that is exposed to it. It can directly kill cells or it can cause mutations in DNA. If those mutations are not repaired, the cells may turn cancerous. Children are most at risk for thyroid cancer since their thyroid glands are 10 times smaller than those of adults. The radioactive iodine would be more concentrated in them. The Chernobyl accident, which released a plume of radioactive material in the atmosphere in a fraction of a second. So, following years, the incidence of thyroid cancer among those experts in Ukraine and all neighboring countries has been too much. You can just see the time scale fraction of second energy absorption is there. So, what happens? Changes in biomolecules, DNA membranes can be observed. So, biological repair can be done in minutes, or information of changes in cells, cell death and all can be occurred in say days, weeks or months. Organ death can occur, clinical changes or a period of time can be there. Mutations can be there, the germ cells can be changed, and the entire DNA of the body can be changed, and hence the defect can be carried to the future generation. And somatic cells, if they are changed, they cause leukemia and cancers. So again, the Chernobyl accident which was there, again there is a documentary which I will share with you. It was a very severest of nuclear disasters. So 2,20,000 people had to relocate their homes. So how it was caused and all now we'll discuss. And Fukushima accident also is there. So that we I will show you some documentaries on Fukushima and this Chernobyl. We'll discuss about that. And the nuclear power accidents in India, especially in India, Tarapur has been twice the accidents in Tarapur have been there. So again, you can see the cost in millions. Bulandshahr in Uttar Pradesh also the nuclear accident has been there. The cost associated is quite big. Cost in millions, that means almost one tenth of a crore in US dollars it is there. No? You can see how the cost is associated. So India's worst radiation disaster was in Kalpakkam, that is 70 kilometers from Chennai. So it is a host of Department of Atomic Energy run installations like Madras Atomic Power Station. So this accident was there. So how a nuclear accident generally occurs, this documentary we'll see. Then the Holocaust was also there for Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So you all have studied no? how big this disaster was and how many like thousands and lakh of people it killed. So minimizing nuclear hazards, seek out and act on new information about hazards, improve nuclear powered systems, resources and training to enable effective and ad hoc responses to severe accidents, strengthen capabilities for assessing risks and beyond design basis. So the capabilities should be strengthened so that the exposure is not there for the locals. Further incorporate modern risk concepts into nuclear safety regulations. These are most important. Examine off-site emergency response capabilities and make necessary improvements. Improve the nuclear safety culture, monitoring radioactive disclosure around sites. So again, the mitigation measures, mining of uranium and all substances should be properly regulated. Transportation of nuclear materials should be properly done. Processing of nuclear fuels using them, because nuclear fuels and all they are said to be a very great source of energy, because just some means they have such a huge, you can say, potential. People are many countries are adopting to nuclear fuel. But again, there you can say hazard identification and their hazard risk reduction program should be carried so that the energy can be properly used without affecting the population. Storage of raw materials, storage of the nuclear waste, these all things are there which are important. Data mining, serious health risk exists during mining stage. There is also a lot of rejected, unutilized waste heat that goes into the environment. Decommissioning a reactor, so especially when the new reactor has been used, life has been over, so its decommissioning is important. Some nuclear waste will be there, so they should be properly regulated. Radioactive waste management, limits, mitigation measures, these all things should be studied before for nuclear hazards. So All of you, if you have any question, you may ask.